Gilly. I'm going to be talking today about colour, and you can see I'm wearing this lovely top. It's not actually mine, I borrowed it from my daughter. I raided her wardrobe, I just spotted it and thought that would be perfect for today. Oh, I am actually live, I'll just get rid of that so I know that it's working. I forgot to turn the volume down. Okay, so the blue light, the indigo light. I just want to know your thoughts about it, and I will tell you a little bit of my reason for choosing to talk about it today. So going back 30 years, when I was training to be a Salvation Army officer. Some of you know this about me if you've followed my channel for a while, or if you've had a look on my website. I do talk about my backstory, and I was in London training to be a minister of religion in the Christian church in an evangelical denomination. So I've come a long way since then. A lot has happened in terms of my own journey and my understanding of theology and how that's evolved. But there have been constants, and the blue light is one of them. So I remember that we used to have spiritual days. They were actually called spiritual days, where you'd spend the whole day in prayer or reading, meditating, really by yourself. And then you would have follow-up with your spiritual advisor, some senior officer. And you'd have a one-to-one kind of counselling session, just asking how it was going. And I remember that I mentioned that when I'm deep in prayer, I would experience this blue light sort of behind my eyes. When my eyes were closed, and I'm actually seeing it now as I'm closing my eyes, but the longer or the deeper you stay in that quiet space and just focus inwardly, on the screen behind your closed eyes, it is as though I actually see this circle appears, and it's blue in colour, and it's sort of pulsing. It's just moving, and sometimes I'd be fascinated with it and just watch it for ages, and it would just sort of gently change colour or just gently pulse like this. But it would sometimes be more red, maybe sometimes it just got a bit red. Other times, occasionally I'd get a green light, actually. Sometimes it would be a green colour, but then mostly it was this deep violet, not even violet, I wouldn't have used that word, I would just say purpley blue, indigo. Indigo is really the colour I saw, because it was a very deep sort of navy blue, but with this red tone in it. So, and I was fascinated by it, never could make sense of it. And I mentioned it one time, and I just remember my senior officer just sort of looking back at me blankly and not being able to say anything really or respond to it. And what I really wanted, I suppose, was validation that this was a spiritual experience, because intuitively I knew that's what it was. It always came when I was in this state of feeling really connected and feeling the presence of Holy Spirit. So, I wanted an explanation for what it was, but also some sort of validation, which I didn't get. So anyway, I can see that the camera's starting to go wonky. I wonder if I try to just turn it. I'll just try. If it keeps playing about, that's it. We'll leave it like that, and hopefully... So anyway, I didn't know what to make of it. Then I read a book by a man called Martin Israel. I have spoke about him before. He visited us at the college and spoke to us, and I was just astonished by his presence. I felt like I was, I had to take off my sandals. I was on holy ground, and he just stood and kind of closed his eyes and didn't have any notes. He just spoke, and he was clearly channeling something high. And in a book he wrote, I forget which book it was, it might have been The Precarious Living or something, I can't remember, but he mentioned about returning always to the blue light, of the healing blue light in prayer. And so I thought, there we go, somebody's validating my experience. Then it went years and years and years, and it's only more recently within the spiritual community outside of the church, strangely enough, that others have confirmed that they too have this experience, and I've heard it being described in different ways. But recently, more recently, let me just go on, because she might be saying something. See if people are arriving. I just minimise it, so I can read the chat if people are arriving. And so much more recently, I watched, only this week actually, Suzanne Giesemann, who I often mention. And I will link this video. I just watched it briefly this morning again. And she speaks about something called claircognizance. Is it claircognizance? Cognizance, I think it is. Not clairvoyance, not clairaudience, claircognizance. I think that's right. Meaning clear knowing, as in cognition, when you know something. And claircognizance is what she says is when you're an open channel. And she says, what is the colour of this claircognizance? It's actually blue, indigo blue. And she says that it happens when the crown chakra is open, and there's an open connection to spirit. And it was just so lovely hearing her talk about that and validating what I experienced is the constant all the way back, no matter what's changed in my understanding at a human level, what's changed in terms of the story of Jill, because a lot of things have changed in terms of relationships, where I live, what I'm doing. It's like as if there've been a number of lifetimes, but that's a constant, that experience of that blue light, the indigo light. And so I thought that was so lovely that she describes it in that way, as being the crown chakra opening. And then the information can come in. And the other thing she went on to say, which is fascinating, I'll just see who's here. I have to put my glasses on for this, but I take them off so the glare isn't there. Hi Noelle, happy to be back with you, thank you. Got all these hearts coming, that's so lovely. Hi Paul, hello from Omaha, Nebraska. I've been dancing, praising white, colourless light, especially in Quaker meetings. I've seen. Yeah, people do talk about a white light, actually. I haven't had the white light, strangely enough. I get colours. If I've got my eyes closed, I'm talking about, I don't know if you're meaning with your eyes closed, because you're talking about a pulsing. Oh, I think you do mean with your eyes closed, because you're saying about the pulsing. Thank you, IKEA boy. I'm so glad you're here. Anyway, I'll carry on talking. It's going a bit wonky, but I don't want to mess with it too much. I'll just try one more time, because it will be annoying later. It's because I am attached to, I've got it attached to the mic, and I think it weighs it down at one end. Anyway, I was saying that Suzanne was talking about how she understood this purple light, and she equated it to the masculine and the feminine. She was talking about how she'd been very busy in the week and she'd been all in left brain, because her default mode is to be left brain, because she was an airline, not an airline, she was a Navy officer, wasn't she? I don't know why I said airline. She was in the Royal Navy, and and she's just very much a left hemisphere person, very organised, very structured. And she was saying how this is generally seen as the masculine aspect of the personality and the psyche, whereas the right hemisphere of the brain is more the creative, intuitive. And it's like that Mary Martha, actually, that's just come to mind in the Bible. You've got that, haven't you? Mary and Martha. Martha's the one that's doing and busy and has to be organised so that everything goes perfectly. And then Mary is the one that can just relax and be in the moment and, and have that qualitative experience in the moment and in the presence of Christ. So she was saying, I knew I needed to switch to the right brain. And this is when she sat and she had this vision or this download of understanding that when the left and the right come together, that's the place of total balance. I think the video is called Balance. But she was saying that the colours that we normally associate with masculine are the blue. I mean, this is really sort of stereotypical, but she was just saying blue for boy, pink for girl, or pink and red. Bring the two together and you've got this violet. And when she said that, I was also thinking about the culture wars. I often reference them a lot, or I don't want to talk about them, but I know that this is what we're immersed in and we can't escape from it. that you have the two camps in this duality, this dualistic experience of life. And it's ramping up at the moment to get you to choose a tribe. And this only works if you believe this worldly narrative of being in the right tribe. And there has to be a story that tells you that's the enemy over there. And if you vote for them or have anything to do with them, everything will go bad in the world, so there's propaganda. So one person's truth is another person's propaganda, and it works vice versa. So it's blue or red, isn't it? In the UK it's blue or red, but blue is the left and blue is the right in the UK politics, and red is left, and you have it reversed in the US. You have Republicans and Democrats, but nevertheless it's folly to think that choosing one of those is going to hold the truth. And that's the narrative that is often said. And this is why the church has failed us, because the church has aligned, or it fails us when it aligns itself with one of those camps. And it's usually whatever. Probably, I don't know, in America you've got the mega churches that are very Republican and will tell you that that's the way that you must vote if you're a Christian. And you've also got not just church, but you've got this in spiritual circles too. And I suppose the message is to just be wary of that worldly, what's the word? Colluding with that worldly thinking. It's never the spiritual path. And that doesn't mean we don't act responsibly. We don't recognise that we're in this life, this incarnation, and we use our vote, and the day will come we need to decide what to do, and we use our vote. But we do it because we're connected to a channel that gives us that clear knowing. And in the moment you'll know what's the right thing to do. You'll know what to choose. But I suppose that warning is to just be a little bit detached. I've got, not detached completely. I'm going to forget. It's gone really wonky, but I'm just going to forget about it, because if I keep twiddling it, I don't know. Yeah, you can see me, okay, so that's fine. I'm on a bit of a tilt, but there you go. Can you see the picture that I've left up here? I usually remove the pictures, but it's of a kind of spaceman, when you're on the like satellite up there, and you just leave the spacecraft and you're attached to it still, but you sort of removed from Earth, and that sense of being a little bit removed and seeing the bigger picture, standing back from it. And so maybe it's good if I leave it up there in future, because it just reminds us of that's what we can do. And we can just go back to the violet, the blue, the indigo, that clear cognizance, that connection, that open connection through the crown chakra. I asked you to tell me if you have that, if you get that. Good to see you live. Thank you. Yeah, you too. Yeah, with eyes closed. Hey, hi, Yango. Help me turn blue. We're going to do that in a moment, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and help you to connect. We're going to do some reconnective healing. I am going to have to touch that mic again. This is so annoying. Right, let's see if we can stay there. And not my camera. And I am going to activate the reconnective healing frequencies and invite you to just sit really quietly with your eyes closed. And let's see if that activation can open that crown chakra. And you can see, it doesn't matter if you don't, doesn't mean that something isn't happening, that an activation isn't happening, but it's interesting to set an intention, to give our attention to wanting to receive that, opening to receive. And, it will come. It's okay, Janet. Hi, nice to see you. It doesn't matter what time you come. It's lovely. Lovely that you're here. Is the picture labelled Major Tom? No, it was actually my husband painted it. I don't know, quite a while ago, and but it's a good title for it, isn't it, Major Tom? Because we do like a bit of Bowie. I was listening to Bowie earlier today, actually. So yeah, Major Tom. This is ground control. This is maybe what that might be a good theme for us. Ground control. We're on the ground. We're here in the physical, and we're recognizing that our true home isn't limited to this dimensional experience, and we're going to open up to Major Tom, ground control. We're going to open up to source and to the light, energy, and information that comes to us. Whatever language you use about that, you can call it God if you find it comforting. The idea of a God, a divine being. You can call it Archangel Michael, who's often associated with the purple, isn't he? Purpley blue. You can name your own guides, but it doesn't matter. You don't have to. Think of loved ones. Anything that brings you to that place of love and trust, where you feel safe. And yeah, let's see what we experience. So sit comfortably, just be open to receive. And I'm not going to move my hands a great deal today, as I don't want to distract with that. I just want you to be able to sit. Rest your eyes closed. And be open to experiencing the reconnective healing frequencies. Take a few deep breaths and let your out breath be slower, so that you're relaxing that vagus nerve. You're just falling from beta into alpha consciousness. And there you can be more relaxed and sensitive to experiencing the frequencies, slight shifts in awareness. You may experience it very faintly at first. Just stay with it. Sit with it. Give time and attention to it, and wait on it. Wait on the Lord is the word that just came to me. It's that making time in the day. To attune to the truth of the soul. I'm actually seeing a little bit more red than usual today, so it's a little bit more like a violet colour, actually. Are you feeling the tingles? I got a sudden twitch in my thumb just then. I like to think that this is the information aspect of light, energy and information that we're talking about when we talk about claircognizance. It isn't necessarily conscious information. Sometimes it's just an intuited knowing that all is well and your life is unfolding just as it should be. Always feels really lovely and peaceful and calm. I do enjoy these Friday sessions with you. I hope that you were able to experience something of the frequencies, maybe the light. Let me know if you're watching this back later as well. I'd like to hear your experiences. If not now, maybe over the next few days as you've experienced an activation, just notice what happens. And join me again if you can next Friday. I'll always try to be here on Fridays. And there was an upload, yes, yesterday, so there is another video out at the moment. Do check it out if you haven't watched it already, which is about the soul. And there's also one that I'm working on at the moment that is probably going to come out tomorrow as well. So I've got a few that are just shorter ones that are clips. But pinkish, someone says. Noel, that's interesting, yeah. Pinkish is lovely. That's a real gentle, that's a healing colour too, isn't it? Oh, it's the colour of the heart chakra, isn't it? The pink. I think it is. I don't know a great deal about chakras because it's not something that I grew up knowing about, so it's all quite new to me. But certainly these colours, the they're definitely there. They're a physical phenomenon in that you actually do. They appear in the screen of your mind on the inside, if you know what I mean. I'm over. Hang on, I just had to look at that. Tingling. I mostly felt a tingling on the top of my head. That I've had that before in Reconnective Healing. I'm sure that's that crown chakra opening up. That's of course where the crown chakra is. Brilliant. Yes, very peaceful, Paul says. That's lovely. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you for joining me, those of you who are here live. Hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend. If you're watching back later, thank you. And yeah, just to say that I'm going on now actually this afternoon to do a reconnective healing, and so you can schedule a one-to-one with me if you want to do that, and you can find out all about how to do that at my website, jillbrennan.co.uk, or Unitive Mysticism. I always forget to do those important little bits at the end. Anyway, all my love. Take care. Goodbye for now. God bless.